Welcome to Digital Bridges, a podcast by LinkAmerica. Here we explore how connection and purpose driven innovation are transforming the way businesses, people, and communities thrive. In each episode, we'll share insights of the power of outsourcing, the technologies shaping customer experiences, and real stories of impact from organizations that have scaled smarter through collaboration. Our mission is simple: to build bridges, digital and human, that bring opportunities closer, strengthen relationship, and open the door for a more connected future. So let's get started. Today, we're honored to be joined by a special guest, John Breen, board member and chief marketing officer at LinkAmerica. John is a 35-year veteran of the computer and data communications industry, with most of those years spent in leadership roles across the AT&T family of companies. His career has been dedicated to shaping strategies that connect businesses and customers through technology. And his insight on purpose-driven innovation and customer-first transformation are invaluable to the conversation we're building here on Digital Bridges. John, welcome to Digital Bridges. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Camilo, and it's just a pleasure to be here today. I'm looking forward to sharing with our audience a little bit about LinkAmerica and about our business process outsourcing solution.
Amazing. John, for those who are not familiar with LinkAmerica, could you give us a brief introduction to the company and share how its BPO expertise is helping organizations today?
Yes, I'd be happy to. The name of the company, LinkAmerica, is a clue to the value proposition that is provided by the company. We basically link North America companies, businesses, and services to our partners in South America. So LinkAmerica, which is headquartered in Dallas, Texas, has operations in Costa Rica, Colombia, Peru, and also has the ability to conduct business in Mexico. And what we do basically is help organizations find efficient use of talent through our business process outsourcing by leveraging great talent available in these countries in Latin America.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, John. I know LinkAmerica offers a wide range of BPO services, but sometimes outsourcing can sound complex to people outside the industry. Could you walk us through the key services we provide?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So at its most simple form, employers in the US, in some cases, either are struggling to find the talent they need for a particular function, or the price of that talent is so expensive it becomes prohibitive. So by engaging LinkAmerica, we first try to understand what is that function that they're trying to provide. Is it an inside sales support to help their salespeople be more effective? Or is it complex network engineering support that needs a certain level of talent that's certified, but maybe has become very, very expensive in the US? So once we understand what that use case is that the client is trying to solve for, then what we do is we provide a path to help them find that talent, interview that talent, and ultimately select that talent. And that can be on a one to twosie basis, or it can be an entire organization that they would like to build in a nearshore model.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Now talking about benefits for clients, John. Outsourcing, it's often seen as a way to save money, but the benefits go much deeper than cost efficiency. Can you share how LinkAmerica delivers these advantages to our clients in practice?
Yes, absolutely. I think the word outsourcing sometimes comes with some negative connotation. Outsourcing of talent has been in existence for many years, especially with the advent of modern telecommunications and video communications, where a job function can now be done anywhere in the world. But what you deal with in certain companies who are in this space is that the world also has a 24-hour clock. So if you want to do outsourcing, say from India, well, they're 9.5 hours away. And so people there have to work a night shift to support US-based time zones. The beauty of our model is that being a North and South American model, we keep everything in the Americas. We provide talent from countries that have excellent educational systems and have the same, cultural and political environments that are stable as in the US. But the benefit is, one, you get the passion of the Hispanic culture to get the work done. Two, you're able to get this not only at a cost saving, but these people really become just an extension of your staff. And over time, most of our clients can no longer see the difference between their nearshore employees versus their local employees. And that's really the ultimate goal, is to make that our service feels nothing more than like your Southern branch office.
Amazing. I'm not sure if we can jump into a success story, but I'm gonna propose the question and we can move from there.
Absolutely, yep, be happy to.
Jen, stories are the best way to see the value of outsourcing in action. Could you share a success case where LinkAmerica's BPO services made a real difference for a client? Maybe an example where we help improve efficiency, scale faster, or deliver better customer experience?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So one of our most successful case studies was a large telecom company in the Fortune top 10 in the US. And this company was really struggling to have their salespeople follow up from an order that was taken to ultimately get the service implemented. And so they had a high abandon rate of orders, somewhere in the neighborhood of almost 70%. And a lot of this was primarily because of the details of information that had to be gathered from the client in order to implement the telecom service. So what they struggled with is the salespersons were not good at following up, and therefore a high abandon rate, and therefore that was costing the company a lot of money. By building a team in Latin America, in this case in Costa Rica and Colombia, we trained a staff of what we basically called project coordinators, so that a salesperson could meet with a client, a prospect, show the value of the services from the telecom provider, get the client to sign the contract, and then hand it off to our project coordinator, who literally worked in Costa Rica and Colombia, but via technologies like Microsoft Teams and other technologies, could interact with the client on a very personal and direct level. Our requirements were not only that the candidates in Costa Rica and Colombia spoke excellent English, but they also understood the geographic differences in the US, etc. So these resources were brought on board one by one. We started with a senior manager that would kind of train the trainer model. So this client brought some talent into Costa Rica to train this resource, who then would train the resources that would come on board. And we essentially built what was called a center of excellence in support of reaching out to these now clients of this customer and helping fill out all the details that needed to implement the service, and provide a regular communications to the client so that they knew when the service was going to be onboarded and implemented, and also was there as a conduit should there be any issues or schedule changes along the way. And so this was a great example of not only did we end up saving the client money on the labor cost to do this, we made the salespeople 40 to 50% more productive because they could simply move on to the next opportunity to sell and not be burdened by the post-sales process. We also then added automation so that we would use the information gathering from clients, automate that to automated updates to the customer clients, and also integrated with this telecom provider's implementation teams and what we call day one and day two support organization. And so what eventually evolved is this organization became like a seamless interface between the company to interact with their customers, so much so that the customers, they felt like these were AT&T employees, which was the telecom example here, but they also were in some cases able to communicate in English and in Spanish, and in some cases Portuguese, for clients in the U.S. who prefer to use those languages. So several benefits, both not only financial benefits, but the major factor in this was reducing that abandon rate. And so what was originally a 70% abandon rate dropped to less than 20% over the course of a year. And that not only retained tons of revenue for the company, but the overall satisfaction for the sales reps themselves, because they could then get the commissions for the products they serve, and the company could benefit from a long-term revenue stream. So there's a good example of not only helping save money, but solving a real-world business problem and making that look and appear seamless for the client, and ultimately a high level of satisfaction with provable metrics to show the return on investment.
Incredible. Thanks a lot for sharing that experience with us. Now, John, we want to do something a little different. In the outsourcing world, there are a lot of myths and misconceptions that sometimes hold companies back from exploring the real value BPO can bring. So, in this segment called Myth versus Realities, I'll share a common myth about outsourcing, and I'd love for you to help us clarify the reality. Think of it as setting the record straight for our listeners.
That is common today, and then if you want to bring up some other ones, but one of the major myths in the industry is that a client in the U.S. may think they lose control of the candidate selection and are no longer empowered to enforce their requirements on what would be a remote worker employee. And that myth is really not a reality with LinkAmerica, because LinkAmerica basically involves the client in the actual candidate selection process. That early on ensures that the client gets exactly the skill set that they're looking for to do the job. There's also quarterly operational reviews of each of the candidates, and if there is someone who's not performing at the level, the client is engaged in either process improvement or training, or in some cases dismissal is required. So I think the one myth there is somehow a lack of the view that they may lose control or the ability to manage these resources who are acting on behalf of the client. The reality is that LinkAmerica, the client is quite involved in that. And it's only later in the process, when the client feels comfortable in our ability to take on those tasks for them, that they're able to actually relax and let go of some of that responsibility, and we take on that burden for them. That's one myth I wanted to call out here right away.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I wanted to bring another myth that is quite popular, and is that BPO is only about cost cutting. So companies outsource solely to save money. I don't know if you can clarify on that myth.
Thank you for that. I do think that usually the initial entry point is, yes, we want to save money for the client. What we typically find, though, is there are certain sectors of the industry. For example, in the telecom industry, there are certain skill sets that are very difficult to attract to a company for full-time employment, because not only are they expensive, but in some cases they're rare. So being able to tap into employment pools in Costa Rica, Colombia, Peru, Mexico widens the available and potential employee base for a U.S.-based client. So, for example, there may be a specific certification. For example, in the telecom world, this CCIE was the top tier technical certification. And during the dot-com bubble and the growth of the internet, these engineers were highly sought after. And they were also, because they're highly sought after, you had a high attrition rate because one employer would send a recruiter to try to take that other resource away. And so these people were being bid on, very complicated. When you have a service available where we can get you that talent in Costa Rica or Colombia, the benefit is you have maybe less competition in those countries for that skill set. And so therefore we're able to bring that skill set not only at a lower price, but somebody who's really driven to work hard and retain their time with our client. And so that's a key thing, is that in some cases it's really, there's a skill set that needs to be acquired, and they also are looking for a tenured skill set that will stay in that position.
Amazing. Let me address another myth that is usually popular, and is outsourcing means losing control. So some people would think that delegating tasks offshore means managers lose visibility and decision-making power. Do you think that's the case?
That myth is true in some scenarios. For example, if you think of it like a lawn service, if you bought a lawn service and you are just paying to have your grass cut, you don't really care who is the guy or gal on the lawnmower cutting that, right? So in this case, you're paying for a service of simply cutting my grass. I don't care who's on it. And in that case, you are giving up control, but you have the control from the standpoint of the quality. So your KPIs, your key performance indicators, have to be very well documented to ensure you get the quality you expect. But in our model, what we do is not only do we set up key performance indicators, but our clients are involved in choosing what type of talent will be in that role. And also we develop the training programs and quality metrics that have to be embedded in that talent to do the job. And in our model, the way we work is if the client is not happy with the performance of a resource, we then take action quickly to resolve that. And if it's not resolvable, then our contract stipulates that we will remove that client, that resource, and provide another one. We do this via what's called a bench process. So even though the client may have, say, 30 resources doing a function, we may have 4 or 5 on the side that are not billing to the client, but they're actually being trained and ready to go. And this allows us, if we have an attrition event or somebody who's not performing well, to simply remove them from the pool of 30 and add in 1 or 2 resources very quickly that are trained and ready to go. This concept has worked very well to ensure that the client's production doesn't get affected by either poor performance or any unplanned attrition. So, there are some of the elements of the myth can be true if the client doesn't specify key performance indicators. But in our model, we're very attuned to what are the factors that make the most sense for the client. And then we do involve them in the actual people side of the business to ensure the quality of the talent is best representing that client's mission.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, John. Let me bring just one last myth we can clarify about talking about sectors in where BPO can be applied. So there's a myth, BPO is only about call centers. People will usually think that outsourcing is limited to customer support and telemarketing. Do you think that's still the reality?
I think that reality was truer many years ago when the technology was such that, for example, if you had a center in India, the only way to conduct the video and audio communications was the resource had to be able to come into a center. They worked in a cubicle tightly connected to somebody else nearby. And it was very much a 24-hour customer service type model. that the positive side is the technology back then required very expensive telecommunication linkages and equipment, and it also required low-cost labor from countries that are working a night shift in order to work the day shift hours in the U.S. So the customer experience in the U.S. was quite poor. Either they couldn't understand the resource, or there was a high attrition rate of the resources, or there was also a cultural imbalance. The beauty of technology and modern, telecommunications and data communications is not only is the technology more accessible from a laptop that a person can use from their home office in countries like Costa Rica and Colombia, where the infrastructures are very, very good. But it also allows that the person can develop more wholly a relationship with the client's customers and or prospects for whatever the function is there. So I do think that the technology and the abilities to do this model differently have evolved over time and made it more customer friendly and a better experience for the end customers. And the final thing I'll mention is time zones matter. The beauty of our model is you run a 8 to 5 operation in the U.S. Well, that's the same time zones in Costa Rica and Colombia. So these folks who live in those countries can work a regular day shift. So we have very low attrition because it's a typical day work hour. And it's only on occasions where clients require night shift workers that we have people in Costa Rica or Colombia that will work a night shift model. But the main benefit there is low attrition and high customer engagement. And also that coupled with better technology that has made the experience, both from a telecommunications and video communications, a much better experience.
Thanks a lot for clarifying those scenarios, John. And before we wrap up, where can our listeners go to learn more about LinkAmerica and the work we're doing, and how can they connect with us or even book a consultation with our team?
Yeah, so it's as easy as going to www.linkam.com. That's LINKAM.com. On that website, you have information about our business process outsourcing services. There's also case studies there. There's some ideas that you can think about on how you can start this journey. And there's also a click to consult with us about that. You simply fill out a form with your name and contact information, and a member of our staff will contact you. All of that there's no charge for helping you get this journey started. In fact, the beauty of this model is we help you all the way through to the point of hiring that first resource that meets your needs, and all that's complimentary. We ultimately want to make sure that the resource you bring on board is also meets your needs, so our billing doesn't even begin till 30 days after the resource is onboarded. And so it's a great model to take on the opportunity to just explore this. So go to our website. We also do have a Instagram site. You can just look for LinkAmerica. We're found on LinkedIn as well, so you can connect to us that way. And also we have a Facebook site as well. And this video and telecommunications message and podcast is also available on our YouTube channel that you can simply search for LinkAmerica on YouTube, and you find us there as well.
Thanks a lot, John. And thank you for joining on this first episode of Digital Bridges podcast. We hope you found valuable insights on how purpose-driven innovation and outsourcing can create real impact. Thanks for listening.